Hello and welcome to our presentation on all about the Agile. Agile project management. The Agile project management approach includes Scrum as a framework, extreme programming, also known as XP, for building in quality upfront, and lean thinking to eliminate waste. These and many other tools and techniques have helped organizations, teams, and individuals adhere to the Agile and the 12 Agile principles, which focus on people, communication, product, and flexibility. The Agile methodology uncovers better ways to develop a product and come to realization what the values are. Agile approach values individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It also values working software over comprehensive documentation. It values customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And lastly, it values responding to change over following a plan.
There are 12 Agile principles. These are a set of guiding concepts that support project teams in implementing Agile projects. You can use these principles as a litmus test to determine whether or not you're being agile in your project work and thinking. Core values the litmus test provide for Agile project management are simplicity, alignment with the Agile values and principles, and it focuses on what matters most for you and your stakeholders. Now we're going to go down the list of the 12 Agile principles. Number one, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Number two, welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Number three, deliver work and software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter timescale. Number four, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Number five, build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need and trust them to get the job done. And number six, the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face to face conversation. Continuing down the line, number seven, working software is the primary measure of progress. Number eight, agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Number nine, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Number 10, simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. Number 11, the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self organizing teams. And last but not least, number 12, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly.
This picture is a high-level overview of an Agile project. In stage one, the product owner identifies the product vision. The product vision is a definition on what your product is, how it will support your company, and who will use the product. On longer projects, a revisit of the product vision is commonly done at least once a year. In stage two, the product owner creates a product roadmap. The product roadmap is a high-level view of the product requirements. with a loose time frame for when you develop those requirements. Identifying product requirements and then prioritizing a roughly estimating the effort for those requirements are a large part of creating your product roadmap. On longer projects, revise the product roadmap at least twice a year. In stage 3, the product owner creates a release plan. The release plan identifies a high-level timetable of the release of working software, or a working product. An agile approach with many releases, with the highest priority features launching first. A typical release includes 3 to 5 sprints. Create a release plan at the beginning of each release. In stage 4, the product owner, the master, and the development team plan sprints. These are also known as iterations, and start creating the product within these sprints. Sprint planning sessions take place at the start of each sprint, where the Scrum team determines what requirements will be in the upcoming iteration. In stage 5, during each sprint, the development team has daily meetings. In the daily meetings, you spend no more than 15 minutes and discuss what you completed yesterday, what you're working on today, and any roadblocks you may have. In stage 6, the team holds a sprint review. In the sprint review, at the end of every sprint, you demonstrate the working product created during the sprint to the product stakeholders. Lastly, in stage 7, the team holds a sprint retrospective. The sprint retrospective is a meeting where the team discusses how the sprint went and plans for improvements in the next sprint. Like the sprint review, you have a sprint retrospective at the end of every sprint.
My name is Antonio Lambakis, and I will be covering the roles and events of an Agile project. First, the role of the product owner. This person is responsible for bridging the gap between the customer, business stakeholders, and the development team. The product owner is an expert on the product and the customer's needs and priorities. The product owner works with the development team daily to clarify requirements and shields them from organizational noise. The product owner is sometimes called a customer representative. The product owner, above all, should be empowered to be decisive, making tough business decisions every day. Next, we have the development team members. These people create the product. In software development, programmers, testers, designers, writers, data engineers, and anyone else with a hands-on role in product development are development team members. With other types of product, the development team members may have different skills. Most importantly, development team members should be versatile, able to contribute in multiple ways to the project's main goal. Next, Scrum Master, the person responsible for supporting the development team, clearing organizational roadblocks, and keeping the Agile process consistent. A Scrum Master is sometimes called a project facilitator. Scrum Masters are servant leaders and are most effective when they have organizational clout, which is the ability to influence change in the organization without formal authority. The stakeholder is anyone with an interest in the project. Stakeholders are not ultimately responsible for the project, but they provide input and are affected by the project's outcome. The group of stakeholders is diverse and can include people from different departments or different companies. For Agile projects to succeed, stakeholders must be involved, providing regular feedback and support to the development team and product owner. Finally, we have the Agile Mentor. This is someone who has experience implementing Agile products and can share that experience with a project team. The Agile Mentor can provide valuable feedback and advice to new project teams and to project teams that want to perform at a higher level. Although Agile mentors are not responsible for executing product development, they should be experienced in applying Agile principles in reality and be knowledgeable about many Agile approaches and techniques. Now I'll discuss the events. First is project planning. This is the initial planning for your project. This includes creating a product vision statement and a product roadmap and can take place in as little as one day. Next is the release planning. Planning the next set of product features to release and identifying an imminent product launch date around which the team can mobilize. On Agile projects, you plan one release at a time. Next is Sprint, which is a short cycle of development in which the team creates potentially shippable product functionality. Sprints, sometimes called iterations, typically last between 1 and 4 weeks. Sprints can last as little as 1 day, but should not be longer than 4 weeks. Sprints should remain the same length throughout the entire project, which enables teams to plan future work more accurately based on their past performance. Next is sprint planning, a meeting at the beginning of each sprint where the Scrum team commits to a sprint goal. They also identify the requirements that support this goal and will be able to be part of the sprint and the individual tasks will take to complete each requirement. Daily Scrum, a 15-minute coordination and synchronization meeting held each day in a sprint where development team members state what they completed the day before, what they will complete on the current day, and whether they have any roadblocks. Sprint Review, a meeting at the end of each sprint, introduced by the project owner, where the development team demonstrates the working product functionality it completed during the sprint to stakeholders, and the product owner collects feedback for updating the product backlog. Lastly is Sprint Retrospective, a meeting at the end of each sprint where the Scrum team inspects and adapts their processes, discussing what went well, what could change, and makes a plan for implementing changes in the next sprint.
Project progress needs to be transparent and measurable in order to be useful. Agile project teams often use 6 main artifacts or deliverables to develop products and track progress. 3 Scrum artifacts are used in addition to 3 other artifacts to enhance effectiveness. Going down the list of Agile artifacts, number 1 is the product vision statement. This is an elevator pitch or a quick summary to communicate how your product supports the company's or organization's strategies. The vision statement must articulate the goals for the product. Number 2 is the product roadmap. The product roadmap is a high-level view of the product requirements needed to achieve the product vision. It also enables a project team to outline a general timeframe for when you will develop and release those requirements. The product roadmap is a first cut and high-level view of the product backlog. Number 3 is the product backlog. The full list of what is in the scope of your project ordered by priority. After you have your first requirement, you have a product backlog. Continuing down the list of the Agile artifacts, number 4 is the release plan. This is a high-level timetable for the release of working software. Number 5 is the sprint backlog. This is the goal, user stories, and tasks associated with the current sprint. And last but not least, number 6 is increments. This is the working product functionality demonstrated to stakeholders at the end of the sprint, which is potentially shippable to the customer. The next 2 slides are pictures to show examples of what the Agile artifacts should look like. The first picture is an example of what should be included in a product vision statement. The second picture is an example of how a product roadmap should look and what information should be included. And the third pic is an example of how a backlog is created. The first picture on this slide displays a sample release plan template with a monthly theme. The second picture is a sample sprint backlog template. And the third picture displays a sample of how increments work. You have reached the end of our video. Thank you for watching our tutorial on Agile methodology. We hope you guys learned something today. Bye!